Man, something stinks. Something smells to high heaven about these Epstein files. Something stinks about the timing, about the emails, about the people involved. Man, something stinks. Wait, why now? Something smells to high heaven. Hang on, sorry. I was listening to myself. You know, you always sometimes you gotta listen to yourself while you're talking to make sure you understand really what you're saying. No, something smells really bad. And you know what I think we need in this situation? You know, the only thing I think that's gonna kill the stench, that's gonna kill the odor coming off of the Epstein files, I think, is a bottle of Donald Trump's fight cologne. Oh yeah. Oh, wow. That smells delectable, actually. That's a lovely scent. I got this cologne last Christmas. I can't believe it's already been a year. The fight Donald Trump cologne, signature cologne. It's got his signature on the bottle too. And I haven't actually worn it, but I love it. It smells, I think I did a whole video about it. It really reminds me of a very light kind of scent that my father wore years ago. So whenever I smell it, I kind of smell my dad, which is kind of interesting. May God rest his soul. But I will say this. Do you know who else smells like Donald Trump's fight cologne? The president of Syria, who got a bottle when he visited the White House. But that's not all. Listen to what President Donald Trump said to the president of Syria when he was giving him a bottle of cologne.
This is men's fragrance. Yeah. This is no. It's the best fragrance. Come here, man.
I have more here, sir.
Okay. So what we'll do is just take that, Joe, put it in, and then the other one is for your wife. How many wives?
Your wife.
You guys I never know, right?
He goes, hey, the other bottle's for your wife. How many wives? And the guy goes, just one. He goes, with you guys, I never know. With you Syrian fellas, I never know how many wives. You sure it's just one? You don't have I thought you guys had like a whole harem, but that's fine, whatever. Here, take a bottle for your wife. That's good. That's better for me. I only have to give you one bottle of the cologne. Also, I noticed now in replaying that video, he doesn't have the president of Syria didn't get the regular run-of-the-mill Joe Schmo working class American black glass bottle of fight cologne. He got the gold emblematic, figurine. It's fine. I'm not jealous or anything like that. I mean, cologne's cologne. It all smells great. But he goes, Donald Trump, how many wives you got? Prez? Just one wife? You never know with you people. That's the kind of thing only Donald Trump, only Donald, that makes me laugh so much. That makes me laugh so much. You know what? That actually brings a smile to my face, because you know what really angers me? This whole thing with the penny. The penny's gone. The penny's done. Finally, I totally forgot how much I hated the penny until yesterday when they minted the final penny. I don't know if you know this, but the penny for years, and we'll get to the Epstein files here in just a minute. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about today with the Epstein files. There's a lot to talk about with the government opening back up. There's a lot to talk about with upcoming elections, the midterm elections, of which I am running against John Rutherford here in the great state of Florida. But look, there's a lot we got to get to. And one of the things that I want to make sure you understand, one of the things I want to make sure I bring to your attention is that the penny is now gone. They're not minting any more pennies. And the reason is, get this. You want to talk about waste? You want to talk about government ridiculousness? You want to talk about doging? You want to talk about your tax dollars being flushed down the toilet? It cost 4 cents to make 1 penny. I know. It takes 4 cents to produce 1 penny. 1 penny, last time I checked, and pretty much since it was created, is valued at 1 penny. So it costs 4 pennies to make 1 penny, which means every time we make a penny, we're already in the hole 3 cents. Now explain to me how that works or why that's necessary. So they finally minted the last penny.
Everybody, this is the last one.
Any final words for the penny?
God bless America.
Yeah, God bless America. And we're going to save the taxpayers $56 million.
Yeah.
We're going to do a countdown on this one. This is the last one. 3, 2, 1.
Yay, we're not wasting $56 million on pennies anymore. Woo! I mean, my question is, why did it take so long for somebody to realize? Why did it take so long for somebody to realize that there was that the pennies were too expensive? There was an episode of The West Wing, like 20 years ago. What was The West Wing like? I think it was like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was an episode of The West Wing where they talked about how expensive it was to make a penny and how it was ridiculous and how they should get rid of the penny. And 20 years later, we're finally doing it. I don't know if Martin Sheen had any say in the matter, but it's something that we've finally been able to. It's something that we've finally been able to get off the table, to get off of our chest, which I'm very excited about because those and I don't know what we're gonna do. My wife goes, should I keep all my pennies? Are they gonna be worth something? I go, they're not worth something now. She goes, no, but one day down the road, can we go on eBay and sell the pennies for like hundreds of dollars? I said, no. No, you're better off melting them down. We should get all the pennies together. We should melt them down, and we should make a statue memorializing government waste. It should be a big statue of like Elon Musk and the Doge team. It should be a big statue of Big Balls. That's what it should do. We should take all the pennies, because remember, Big Balls went into the treasury, and he plugged in his computer, and he immediately like figured out where all the waste was. In like 20 seconds, he plugged in his computer, he ran a program, and AI told Big Balls, the government's wasting $186 billion. Here's how we can cut it all out. We should just melt down all the pennies, use the copper or the zinc or whatever it is they've been using since 1982 at tin, I think whatever it is, and we should just erect a statue to Big Balls, because I think that would be the final straw. Speaking of big balls, let's talk about Tim Burchett, shall we? Let's talk about Lauren Boebert. Let's talk about Nancy Mace. So the Democrats have like the worst timing in the world, like just the worst timing. We know that this whole thing with the Epstein files, we know that these Epstein emails, we understand exactly what was going on. The Democrats released these Epstein files when they these Epstein emails, and they released them when they did because they were licking their wounds over their failed shutdown. They were embarrassed. They were angry. They couldn't believe that Donald Trump won. They couldn't believe that 8 of their own crossed the aisle and voted with Republicans to reopen the government. And the government is now totally reopened. Last night at about 9 o'clock, the House of Representatives Hakeem Jeffries finally shut up, and they were able to vote to reopen the government.
On this vote, the yeas are 222, the nays are 209. The bill is passed. The motion is adopted.
Yeah. And then the bill headed over to Donald Trump's desk, where we were waiting. One of the funniest things I've ever seen, because I guess it was supposed to happen like 10 o'clock, but it really happened much later. And one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time was Sean Hannity and Peter Doocy trying to like fill time. I guess they didn't have any guests or anyone lined up. They thought Donald Trump was going to sign this thing at like 10 o'clock, whatever. So they just came and they started talking, and they were trying to vamp, man. They were trying to stretch for time. It was hilarious. But they finally got it all open, and Donald Trump signed the bill, and he reopened the government. All's well and good.
So with all of that, I just want to tell you the country has never been in better shape. We went through this short-term disaster with the Democrats because they thought it would be good politically. And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you.
Yeah. And then President Donald Trump signed the bill to rousing applause. Everyone was cheering and clapping because he's opening. And this is a horrible, by the way, this is a horrible the optics of this are horrible for the Democrats, because now Donald Trump is reopening the government with his big signature. He's got people applauding and cheering. It's on primetime television. And he flat out just excoriated the Democrats the entire time. He goes, I'm about to sign this government spending bill. I'm about to sign this bill to reopen the government. But before I do, let me go on for 20 minutes about how horrible the Democrats are. And he did. And he said, when you go to vote in the midterms next year, remember, it's the Democrats. It's the Democrats who tried to, it's the Democrats who shut down the government. It's the Democrats who tried to give your money to illegal aliens. It's the Democrats who kept you off of your flights, who canceled 20,000 flights. It's the Democrats who wasted billions and billions of dollars. It's the Democrats that did all of these terrible, horrible, no good, very bad things for no reason, because they didn't get in the end anything that they were offered, that they were asking for. They got the exact same bill that they were offered 43 days ago and refused to sign. And so Donald Trump said, remember that when you get to the midterms. And the Democrats were very upset by this, so they released some not very salacious or damaging emails at all that mentioned President Donald Trump and were written by Jeffrey Epstein and his cohorts. They scoured the Epstein documents and they found emails that mentioned Donald Trump. Not that Donald Trump wrote to Jeffrey Epstein, not that Jeffrey Epstein wrote to Donald Trump, but that Jeffrey Epstein and the people in his orbit wrote about President Donald Trump or mentioned President Donald Trump. And never once in any of the emails did they mention President Donald Trump and illegal things. Never once did they mention President Donald Trump and criminal acts against women or anyone else. None of that. It was just President Donald Trump's name was mentioned. The Democrats released it thinking it would be this big red flag. And so Tim Burchett, a.k.a. Congressman Slingblade from Tennessee, he came out yesterday and he did what he does. He grabbed his phone and he recorded a video and he put it out there and it was just as good as all the others. And he said, look, I wanted to put this whole Epstein mess to bed right away, so here's what I did.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense, and and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
The dadgum floor. Oh, they blocked it. I made a motion to bring it to the dadgum floor, and the dadgum Democrats dadgum blocked it. Tim Burchett says, look, enough of this. Enough of this releasing this. Enough of this releasing these emails. Enough of this back and forth. Enough of this. We're signing this resolution and this letter, and Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Nancy Mace and everybody else. Enough of all you people. Here it is. We're gonna do one vote right here, and we're just gonna a UC. And we're going to just say, hey, let's release all the Epstein files. And the Democrats blocked it. Why do you think the Democrats blocked it? Well, there's two reasons why the Democrats would block it. Number one, the Democrats would block it because they want to keep it under wraps so they can continue to dribble out these little pieces of information that they believe are somehow damaging to the president of the United States the next time they fail, which will be any minute now. They also want to drip out these little tidbits of information that they have from the Epstein files whenever they think it could be politically damaging or whenever they want to change the media narrative. For example, the media narrative was the Democrats suck at everything. And then immediately when they released these emails, the Democrat narrative became, damaging emails released that mentioned Donald Trump from the Epstein files. They don't want to lose that power. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say anything. Nothing happens from it. But it is a way for the Democrats to change the narrative when things are going well for the president. And things have been going really well for the president for a very, 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 very long time. And will continue to for a very, 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 you get the idea. So that's the first reason. The second reason is there's nothing about Donald Trump in these Epstein files, which we all know because they would have released it long ago. They would have released it when President Donald Trump wasn't president to keep him from becoming president. They would have released it when Donald Trump became president, so he'd have to not be president. There's nothing damaging toward President Donald Trump in these files. That's why they don't want it released because, again, they just came off of one failure. They just came off of one big, massive hoax. They just came off of this one thing where it was mentioned or it was said, hey, you know what? Donald Trump beat us at the shutdown. We got absolutely nothing that we wanted. The government's reopened and we look like idiots. If we release the Epstein files and people realize there's nothing damaging against President Donald Trump in the Epstein files, then we're going to look like idiots again. So of course they're going to block Tim Burchett. Donald Trump wrote about this on Truth Social, which is rare. He doesn't usually do this, but he wrote about this on Truth Social, and he said, the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and so many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion with their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk. and they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and any Republicans involved should be focused only on opening up our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. He went on to add, in other words, the Democrats are using the Jeffrey Epstein hoax to try and deflect from their massive failures, in particular, their most recent one, the shutdown. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that there isn't going to be a vote on the full release of the Epstein files in the House of Representatives. In fact, Mike Johnson said there's going to be a vote on the Epstein files probably sometime next week, and that is because of a petition, a discharge petition that accumulated enough signatures with this woman whose name I can never pronounce, so I'm not even going to try, who got sworn in yesterday, Adelita Grijalva. Whatever. The discharge commission, the discharge petition needed one lot more signature, and when Adelita Grijalva from Arizona was sworn in yesterday, she immediately signed it, and that mandates a floor vote on the Epstein measure that will be happening sometime next week. Now, what President Donald Trump and the White House allegedly have been trying to do is get some of the Republicans who've signed on to that discharge petition to remove their signatures, namely Lauren Boebert from Colorado, Nancy Mace from South Carolina, and Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. All three women, all Republicans, all MAGA, who have signed this discharge petition to get these documents out in the open. And a lot of people in the White House have been wondering why. Why is that? Why would they do that? Well, we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. We'll tell you exactly what happened in this meeting that Lauren Boebert was summoned to in the Situation Room of not the Oval Office, the Situation Room. Nancy Mace wrote a letter to President Donald Trump. We'll let you know what's inside of it. And Donald Trump just ripped into Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, and also Thomas Massie is part of this whole thing. We'll get to all of that here in just a minute. But before we do, I want to get back to Jasmine Crockett for a minute, because Jasmine Crockett was asked about these emails yesterday. So Jasmine Crockett was on CNN, and she was asked why the name of Virginia Giuffre was redacted in the emails, because we all know it's her. The reason, by the way, spoiler alert, it was redacted is because Virginia Giuffre had already said Donald Trump did absolutely nothing. He was a complete gentleman. She exonerated President Donald Trump, not just in her deposition, but in her memoirs. And Jasmine Crockett was asked about this, in fact, pressed on it by CNN. Listen to what she said.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans are saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand,
okay,
but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
Yeah, so she's not really, there's nothing to protect. She's already told everybody what's happening, and this is directly from her deposition. So Jasmine Crockett can't even come up with some kind of spin for why the Democrats would redact her name from the email. And CNN saying, look, the name was redacted, and Jasmine Crockett goes, I don't know why the Republicans would redact it. You go, no, the Democrats redacted. She goes, no, I understand that, but I don't know why the Democrats would redact it. She doesn't really know anything, is what we're finding out. Oh, wait, that's not true. She knows how to spend a whole bunch of money. She knows how to spend. Fun fact, she was complaining that she had to hire security, and she wanted the United States government. She wants you, the taxpayers of wherever you're from. I'm from Florida. She's from Texas. I don't know where you're from, but thank you for being here. She wanted the taxpayers to pay for her private security.
I think that it's really a good question as to why a member of Congress needs to pay for security out of money that they go and raise, instead of focusing on making sure that they use that money to educate voters about why it is that their candidacy matters. I do think that it does people like me a disservice when you are so outspoken. And then what happens is, instead of you being able to put all your dollars into campaigning, instead, you've got to do things like pay for your security. But I kind of value my life, so it is what it is. And it is what it is.
Okay, so Jasmine Crockett is really mad because she has to pay for her own security. And Jasmine Crockett, who's rich, by the way, doesn't want to pay for her own security. She's thinking, why is it? Jasmine Crockett furious. Jasmine Crockett says, why is it that I have to use campaign funds to pay for private personal security when I could be using those campaign funds to, spread my message and educate voters or stay at the Ritz-Carlton?
Hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston
Not been in
or
Amarillo.
Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants to.
Yeah. Now, I want you to look at this list. What this is Fox News is they've got a list here. Jasmine Crockett expenses since January. Okay. Now, keep in mind, it's not an election year. Okay. Yes, you're always kind of campaigning, but it's not an election year. Next year's an election year. Look at all this money. Look at what she spent all of her money on. Hang on. Let me go back here.
And for a woman who is openly
here we
flirting.
go. This is what she spent her money on. $75,000 total spending. Okay. $4,175.01 at the Ritz-Carlton, not in Texas. $2,304.79, the Luxury Collection Hotel, not in Texas. $5,326.52, the West Hollywood Edition. Fun fact, okay? In full disclosure, I'm running for Congress next year. And currently I have about the same amount of money that she spent at one hotel in my entire campaign account. $5,326 at the West Hollywood Edition. That's exactly what I have right now in my campaign coffers for the entire election. $1,173 at the Times Square edition, $2,000+ at the Cosmopolitan and Aria Resort in Las Vegas. What on earth is Jasmine Crockett, who is really running for what? I don't know what she's running. Is she running to be the senator from Texas? If so, why does she need to spend money in Las Vegas? If you're running for the Senate in Texas, why are you in Las Vegas at the Aria? I mean, I know why I would be at the Aria. It's beautiful and I like to play poker, but I wouldn't do it with these campaign funds. $2,700, the Edgartown Inn. $3,100 at the Coco, which is either in LA or Miami, or there may be one in each. $2,728 transportation for you limo service. $2,300 DCA Car LLC. Now that is her transportation to and from the airport, from DCA Reagan Airport to, I don't know, I guess her apartment in DC or to the Capitol building or whatever. Keep in mind, I go to DC all the time. Not only do I love DC, not only do I go to the Capitol and the surrounding government offices, but also my in-laws are there. And whenever I go to DC, I stay at the Metro Center, the Marriott Metro Center, and I take the Metro. So I get off the plane, I get on the train, it takes me right to the hotel, costs me like $4. She's spending $2,100 on limousines to and from the airport. This is why we have a problem with corruption. And then here it is. Look at this. This is what she's really mad about. $1,254 Bay Area limousine, which I assume is San Francisco, which again is not her district. And then $50,000 security expenses. So she's upset. She's upset that she had to spend $50,000 for personal security, but she's not at all upset that she had to spend $25,000 for luxury hotels and limousines. Oh, I'm furious. I don't think I want you to pay for my security so that I can spend $50,000 educating the voters about the issues in Las Vegas and LA and San Francisco and Miami and all the places where I'm not actually running for anything. I mean, you want to talk about corruption. This is corruption. This is the kind of corruption that we need to weed out. This is exactly the problem with and you know what? Look, money comes from a lot of places. We all know about Nancy Pelosi and the insider trading. We all know about Nancy Pelosi and how she made money from stocks. We all know about John Rutherford, the guy from Florida's 5th District, who I'm running against next year in the primary. Vote for Mark Kaye for Congress. We all know that John Rutherford made millions and millions of dollars with insider trading. He got information by being a member of the Appropriations Committee. He had 152 stock trades that were violations of the Congressional Stock Trading Act, but oh well, they were all thrown out because he also sits on the Ethics Committee. And when you're John Rutherford, congressman from Florida's 5th District, and you sit on the Appropriations Committee and you sit on the Ethics Committee, that's like winning the lottery. You can get all the information about where the money's going to be made, and then when you get busted for ethics violations, you can just throw them out because you're on the ethics committee, and so are all your cronies. And so that's kind of what's been going on across the board. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to raise all of this money and then go out on these campaign, things around the globe and charge your campaign for it. You may not know this, but when Bernie Sanders and AOC went on their Fight Oligarchy tour, do you remember they flew private? They flew in private jets flying from New York to LA to Texas, private jets, lobster roll and champagne on the private jet to fight oligarchy. They were fighting the oligarchies from private jets, and the private jets were paid for by Friends of Bernie Sanders, which is a political action committee. People donated money to Bernie Sanders, and he used it to fly private because he can't fly commercial. I can't fly commercial. They delay the planes because we shut down the government. There's no flight. My flight gets canceled. I gotta fly private. I gotta fly. He literally said, I can't stand in line like average ordinary people. He really thinks he's better. And they all do. And so Jasmine Crockett goes, and this thing, she goes to Texas and she campaigns and she raises money from donors and she takes that money to Las Vegas and does God knows what with it. And when she lands back in DC, she makes sure she has a limousine to take her to the Capitol building, not an Uber, not a Lyft, a limo, because she's Jasmine Crockett and that's how she rolls. And she's mad though. She's mad that she has to pay for her own security. It's totally fine. She'll use those campaign funds for everything else, but not her own security. So that's where the Democrats stand with the redaction of Virginia Giuffre's name. And I've heard it pronounced like 9 different ways. Caroline Leavitt talked about it. She talked about the meeting with Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace and everybody else. And she mentioned, I think she called her Jeffrey or I'm not even sure, Goofrey. And there's so many different ways to pronounce this poor woman's name. But it all boils down to this meeting with Donald Trump's aides, including Kash Patel and including Pam Bondi, and Lauren Boebert from Colorado, and Nancy Mace from South Carolina, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here's CNN. I think this is Dana Bash reporting on this meeting where Lauren Boebert was summoned to the Situation Room to talk about the Epstein files.
Breaking news, CNN has learned there will be a meeting today inside the White House as aides try to manage a potential House vote on the release of the Epstein files. This comes, of course, just hours after Democrats on the Oversight Committee released emails from Jeffrey Epstein himself mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times. I want to get straight to CNN's Caitlin Polance. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Well, the House is releasing these files, but it's not everything that the federal government has. Dana, there's additional files still held by the Justice Department that some Republicans on Capitol Hill are in support of releasing. And so that is causing a political response inside the White House right now, where there is a meeting planned, or was a meeting planned today, about the House effort to try and force a vote to get the Justice Department, the Trump administration, to release the rest of the FBI files, the Justice Department files, everything from years of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein and others, things that have not seen the light of day yet. What one source tells me, we have multiple sources confirming that this meeting is happening, but what one source tells me is that this meeting was planning to include some key figures from the Justice Department, the FBI Director Kash Patel, the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and then one of those Republicans in support of transparency, Republican Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado. So what might happen at this meeting if Boebert could be swayed in a different direction on wanting transparency here? That is all something that is going to be at issue, and that the White House is clearly concerned about, having discussions about it. On top of that, Dana, another thing to remember here is that the Justice Department has tried many different ways to distract from releasing the full Justice Department files. They tried to get grand jury records out there. Blanche talked to Ghislaine Maxwell, a co-conspirator in Florida. When Ghislaine spoke, to Todd Blanche. She told him that Trump himself never acted inappropriately, and she never saw anything untoward in any way toward underage girls. Dana?
Yeah. But she also said he was never at the house, and in the email, Epstein said he was at the house. So this is going to be a very interesting meeting. The fact that Lauren Boebert is going to be there is especially fascinating. Thank you, Caitlin, for that.
I don't know why it's especially fascinating. That was an interesting part of that. Why is it especially? I mean, I get that it's fascinating, but why is it especially? I mean, is Lauren Boebert especially fascinating? I've met Lauren Boebert. I mean, she's a nice lady and all. I don't know that I'd call her. There's me and Lauren Boebert. Look, back, her teeth were white. Mine were whiter than they are now, but look how white her teeth are, man. She's tan, very tan, maybe fake. And those teeth, I don't think are as white. That may also be fake. Look, Lauren, and I'm bending over because she's very tall. Look, Lauren Boebert is a very interesting person. You know, I'm not going to say anything bad about Lauren Boebert. I'm probably not going to say anything good about her either. But, you know, she's Lauren Boebert. She is who she is. Okay. We're all live and let live. I guess that would be, I guess that would be my, it doesn't matter. But Lauren Boebert, but she went to the White House and she had the meeting and she did not, after the meeting, remove her name from the discharge petition. I mean, if let's get it straight. Here's the thing. The Democrats and the media, they are all hell-bent on trying to explain to you how Donald Trump threatens people and wields this powerful fist and destroys careers and uses the Justice Department and the FBI and the DOJ to go after his political enemies, both Democrats and Republicans. Doesn't matter who you are. If you cross Donald Trump, man, you're going to get it. He's going to use everything in his power to destroy you. And so he called Lauren Boebert to the White House, and guess what? She didn't change her mind. She did not change her mind. In fact, Lauren Boebert said she had a great meeting. She loves President Donald Trump. She wasn't pressured at all.
This is an administration who's going to continue to be transparent and honest, and we'll see what comes of it. But there was no pressure, and I mean, everybody was great and worked just well with me. That would have been lost under Joe Biden's leadership if he ever led at all.
But you don't feel like you've been marginalized in the MAGA world anyway by your position here?
No, I don't feel marginalized at all. President Trump is an amazing man. I stand by him. I stand by his administration and everything that he is doing to fix the mess of the Biden administration.
Yeah, look at that. She's like, no, I don't feel marginalized. I don't feel pressured. I'm not changing my vote either. We had a lovely conversation. I met with everybody there at the White. In fact, Caroline Leavitt yesterday, we were all watching. We were all watching the press conference live. She does a press briefing at least once a week, sometimes twice, but usually once a week. And she came out and we were all watching it. And somebody asked her a question about this meeting with Lauren Boebert. Here's what she said.
This administration has done more with respect to transparency when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein than any administration ever. In fact, this administration, the Department of Justice, has turned over tens of thousands of documents to the American people. We are cooperating and showing support for the House Oversight Committee. That's part of the reason you are seeing these documents that were released today, because of the House Oversight Committee's and Republicans' efforts to get these out to the public. This administration also moved, the Department of Justice also moved to unseal grand jury testimony, which we know, unfortunately, a judge declined those requests. So this administration has done more than any, and it just shows how this is truly a manufactured hoax by the Democrat Party. For now, they're talking about it all of a sudden because President Trump is in the Oval Office. But when Joe Biden was sitting in there, the Democrats never brought this up. This wasn't an issue that they cared about because they actually don't care about the victims in these cases. They care about trying to score political points against President Trump, as we have, of course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans and President Trump.
Yeah, and that is exactly right. It's all distraction. It's all, let's not talk about the good things the Republicans are doing. Let's talk about the bad things we think that they did, or we're trying to convince the American people that they did. And if it's the Epstein emails or the Epstein files or whatever whatever it is, if that falls flat, then they just switch the story. And now they're like, oh, Donald Trump is putting on a full court press. That's what Jake Tapper said. Jake Tapper, who, I'm going to be honest with you, I guarantee has never seen a basketball game in his entire life. And if he did, it was the WNBA. But Jake Tapper is accusing President Donald Trump and the White House of putting on the full court press on Republicans who signed the discharge petitions.
The Trump administration and President Trump appeared to be in something of a full court press to try and stop the discharge petition from working. Sources are telling CNN that top Trump administration officials held a meeting on this issue, not just at the White House, but in the Situation Room. Now, according to multiple sources, the meeting was said to have included the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert of Colorado.
Which, by the way, I'm going to be honest with you, Lauren Boebert has not had this much press since she wore the drill baby drill dress. And then, do you remember that? Do you remember she wore the drill baby drill dress to, I forget, I think, was it one of Donald Trump's, or was it one of Joe Biden's? It was one of the State of the Union. I don't remember which one, but she wore a dress that said drill baby drill. She was everywhere. Now she's everywhere again because she had this meeting in the Situation Room with Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and all these other people. Thomas Massie. Well, you know what? Before we get to Thomas Massie, let's get to Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is also one of the women who signed this discharge petition, and she is currently running for, here's the thing, she's running for governor in South Carolina. So, she don't really care anymore, but she does want the information and the truth to come out for the victims, because she herself is a victim of sexual abuse, and she wants to make sure that the victims are protected. So she wrote, apparently, I don't know about this. This story is weird. Apparently, President Donald Trump called her and she missed the call, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. My phone is right here, right now, always with me. And if President Donald Trump called, or if I saw something that said Trump or DJT or the White House, or whatever, I would drop everything. I'm sorry. Like, I know we're doing a live show right now. I'd have to put the live show on pause and pick up the phone. Anyway, she says she missed the call. She was doing something. And she goes, we're playing phone tag. And I'm like, really? You're playing phone tag with the President of the United States? Is that something people do? Do they play phone tag? So she wrote him a letter instead.
That's fact. Remember, this is a swamp.
Can you talk a little bit about the entreaties that you've gotten from the White House, potentially rather than signature?
Well, the president and I played phone tag the last 24 hours, but I will tell you, this isn't political for me. This is deeply personal. And I penned a love letter to President Trump tonight. I just sent him a little bit ago, explaining my story. And I will never abandon survivors. This is difficult for me because I know how hard they're fighting for themselves and for their own justice. And so many of us, as survivors, never get justice. And I told the president tonight in my love letter to him that 2 years ago, well, starting at the age of 14, I was molested by a friend of mine.
Okay, and we know her story, but I think it's odd that she called it a love letter. That's weird. But she wrote a letter to President Donald Trump explaining her. So this is where it gets weird for me. Lauren Boebert gets called into the Situation Room for a meeting with all the upper ups, the muckety mucks, and Nancy Mace is ducking President Donald Trump's calls and sending out a letter. So at least Lauren Boebert, she walked right into the lion's den, and she's 5 foot nothing, if that, maybe 4'11". I'm not even really sure about her actual height, but Lauren Boebert is not a very tall. She's a very petite woman, and she walks right into the White House, right into the Situation Room, and she has the meeting of all meetings. And she walks out and says, "Great meeting. We had a great conversation. Oh no, I'm not changing my position at all. My name will remain on the discharge petition." And you know who praised her for it? Thomas Massie.
Wait, I got to give credit to Lauren Boebert to walk into the White House, the center of power, the free world, really, and to sustain that and to come back out and to be solid, and also to Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene. There was all the speculation that they might take their names off, and they never did. So it's not a hoax. It's not a moot point. It is a very serious thing. There are 1,000 victims, and there are survivors who have had a press conference with Ro Khanna and I, and that's what we're fighting for, justice for them.
Did y'all talk to them at any point during this, as the White House was making clear they were targeting these members?
I talked to them, I don't want to say which one I had this conversation with, but one of them was told, we can't let Massey have a win. How petty is that? I mean, this is more than about political wins. It's about getting transparency and justice, which, by the way, this administration promised. You have the vice president, J.D. Vance, you have the AG, you have the FBI director. They've all done a 180 on this.
So the White House said to one of these members that they didn't want you to have a win here.
That's correct.
Yeah. I don't know who that was. If I had to pick between Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Nancy Mace, who told Thomas Massey that, I think my pick would be Marjorie Taylor Greene. Probably because of what Donald Trump said about her in the Oval Office yesterday. This may be one of those things where Donald Trump ripped Marjorie Taylor Greene in the Oval Office, so she went to Thomas Massey and was like, oh my God, y'all, you're not going to believe what he said about you. He said Thomas Massey cannot get a win. That's kind of how I played it out in my head. That's how I feel like it went down. But anyway, Donald Trump did. I mean, it's no joke. Donald Trump is not happy with Marjorie Taylor Greene. DJT and MTG, their relationship is basically RIP because yesterday Donald Trump was asked about some of her comments. Here's what he said.
I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know.
She's got some kind of an act going. Marjorie Taylor Greene has some kind of an act going. She's catering to the other side. We're not really sure what she's doing or why, but that's what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert, for whatever reasons, are now siding with the discharge petition people, getting praise from Thomas Massey, and not backing down to pressure from President Donald Trump. And so I have to tell you, once again, for those people that believe that Donald Trump is this terrible, horrible, no good monster who continues to just destroy careers and lives by utilizing the full force of the government, the way his predecessor did, by the way. Joe Biden is the one that did all of that. Joe Biden used the FBI to throw people in jail without any proof. He used the Department of Justice to give people inflated sentences with no chance of parole for minor instances of criminality. He's the one that used the IRS and the CIA and everything. I mean, every organization you can imagine. He's the one that put together a special prosecutor so that Donald Trump could get indicted 91 times for things that, guess what? Joe Biden did and Donald Trump did not do. Joe Biden's the one that had another special prosecutor say, yeah, he stole top secret documents, which is treason, but we're not gonna prosecute him because he's just a confused old fuddy-duddy and no jury would ever convict him. He's just a confused, forgetful old man who also happens to hold the nuclear codes in his pocket. That's what Joe Biden did. Donald Trump's done none of that. Donald Trump talks to people. He lets them have their say. He tells them his side of the story, and then he excuses them to make up their own minds. And that's exactly what Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene have done. They've talked to Donald Trump. They've met with Donald Trump. They disagreed with Donald Trump. And that's it. They've gone on their way. And Thomas Massey, same thing. Thomas Massey, yes, Donald Trump has threatened to primary him and is raising money for a candidate against him. But it's because Thomas Massey, in his mind, repeatedly votes against his thing. Now we've looked into the voting record. I think it's like 92% of the time Thomas Massey votes with Donald Trump. But look, there's just some bad blood that's never, ever, ever going to get good. There's some bad blood that's never going to be quelled. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think everybody wins in this situation. But back to it, it looks like this vote will move forward. Now, the big question is, are the Democrats going to vote to release the Epstein files? They had a chance yesterday and they didn't. They had a chance yesterday and they blocked it. Why on earth? Listen again to Tim Burchett.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they, obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it.
Yeah, I made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and the Democrats blocked it. So what do we surmise? We don't know. We know there's going to be a vote, but we don't know if this vote's going to pass. We know there's going to be a vote on this discharge position. We know that there's going to be a vote on bringing the Epstein files to the floor, but we don't know how the Democrats are going to vote on it. And I don't think the Democrats know either. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I don't believe that there's anything damaging to President Donald Trump for the reason that Tim Burchett mentioned, that we've heard over and over again. It would have already come out. They wouldn't have been able to they would have pulled the emergency alarm, the ripcord on this years ago, so Donald Trump never returned to the Oval Office. The second thing is, I think there's more damaging evidence toward Democrats, including Bill Clinton and others that we know about. I mean, we already know Bill Clinton's a sleazeball. Now we're gonna have actual empirical evidence of it, which is great. I mean, besides his admission of horrible sexual acts with an intern in the Oval Office. But look, there's that. And then, of course, the third thing is that I think there's four things, actually. I think that Donald Trump may not be implicated, but some of his friends may. I think Donald Trump, loyal as he is doing whatever he can to help people who he thinks maybe made a mistake, who he thinks maybe were implicated in the wrong way or in the wrong place in the wrong time, who've maybe helped him in his career, helped him in his campaign. I don't know. That could be one of the reasons why he's asking Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene to change their votes. The other thing I think could happen, and I heard Tim Pool talking about this morning. He said Donald Trump could have been an FBI informant and given the FBI information about Jeffrey Epstein, in which case he would not want that released. If Donald Trump were giving information to Jeffrey Epstein, information about Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI or anyone else, guess what? That would ruin Donald Trump's credibility with a lot of powerful people. Donald Trump wants people to trust him. He wants people to talk to him. He wants people to know that he'll help them. And he doesn't want them to know that he's going to give information to anybody that they may not want the information given to. So that is potentially something else. That could be one scenario. I don't know. It's fascinating to me. But I'm of the point now where I think what you're going to see is I think the Republicans, including Tim Burchett and including Thomas Massie and everyone else, they're going to do their best to get all this stuff out there immediately, like right now. And the Democrats, I think, are going to continue to block it. I don't think the Democrats are going to vote for this. I think they'd rather dribble it out over at least the next year so they can try to get some wins in the midterms. Because right now, they're cooked for the midterms. What they've done with the shutdown has destroyed them in the midterms. In fact, Donald Trump mentioned that yesterday. He said the midterm, don't vote for the Democrats because they're horrible people. Here it is. Listen, I think this is it right here.
Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid. And the total effect of the damage their antics cause will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again.
Yeah. So two things in there. Number one, don't vote for Democrats. And number two, well, let's terminate the filibuster because the Democrats are going to do it. Don't vote for the Democrats so they don't get power. But if they do get power, they can't have, they're going to get rid of this filibuster. So we need to get rid of it first. That's Donald Trump's message to everybody. And he's right about that. The Democrats cannot be trusted. They should not win elections. And when it comes time to vote for anybody, you need to remember what the Democrats have done. The Democrats shuttered this country so that they could protect illegal aliens and not the citizens. They shut down airports. They canceled flights. They stranded families. Not just people, not just business travelers, but families were stranded. And one of them One of them, Eric Trump was not stranded, but he was walking through the airport. Listen to what he said.
These aren't serious people. You know, they're obstructionists. I walked through Charlotte Airport 2 days ago, and honestly, you're seeing kids lying on the floor, you know, sitting there waiting for a flight that's been delayed for 5 hours. You know, moms sitting there with them trying to occupy. They're messing with people's lives for no reason whatsoever, other than they can't stand that my father is winning at everything he's doing. He's winning in terms of the respect around the world. He's winning in terms of our economy. He's winning in terms of tax cuts. I mean, you were talking about an hour ago. I think you did a phenomenal job. Look at gas prices. Look at oil and gas prices right now. Look at energy prices. Look what's happening with AI. Look what's happening with crypto. Look at our economy breaking all-time highs. You saw what happened with the Dow yesterday, the first time it ever broke, 48,000. Look at look at record after record that we're setting, and all they can do is be obstructionists. I mean, how many times do Republicans have to go out and vote to reopen the government? And every single time, no, we're not going to reopen the government because we want to give $2.7 trillion of free health care to illegal immigrants when we have a deficit that is out of control, that is absolutely out of control. And thank God my father, stuck his ground. He was not going to capitulate. The Democrats did capitulate. They were getting horrible PR. They were sinking in the polls because of it. And now look at the infighting. But these aren't serious people, Maria. These are people that are messing with people's lives because they need a counter-narrative to Donald Trump, and they have none because their party is a joke. Their past leadership is a joke. They no longer have the mainstream media of this country, so they feel powerless compared to 2016. And so they act out like clowns, but they hurt a lot of good people in the process.
Act out like clowns. Hey, if it looks like a clown and acts like a clown, it is a clown. By the way, did he say he was walking through the Charlotte airport, or he saw it? Hold on, I gotta hear. I don't know. I'm sorry. Just bear with me 1 second. I need to hear that again. What did he? Oh, hold on. What did he just say there? Hang on. Where's the clip? Here it is.
These aren't serious people. They're obstructionists. I walked through Charlotte Airport 2 days ago, and
okay. Where was he going? Where was Eric Trump going that he was walking through Charlotte Airport? I mean, Charlotte, look, it's a great airport, lovely airport. They have rocking chairs and good sushi. But I didn't know that. What would you do? What would you do if you saw Eric Trump just strolling? Because let's say like here in Jacksonville. Whenever I leave Mar-a-Lago, which I try not to do that much anymore, but whenever I leave Mar-a-Lago and I get on a plane and I leave illustrious downtown Jacksonville and I fly somewhere, I either have to go through A, Atlanta if I'm flying on Delta, or B, American Airlines, which would take me through Charlotte. But what would you do if you landed in Charlotte, you had like a 1 hour layover, and you just see Eric Trump casually strolling through down the jetway? That would be something that I wouldn't, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's something that I wouldn't really expect to see. Listen, I do want to say, first of all, I noticed we got a pretty decent, we got a very nice, look at this, we got a very nice super chat from Mariah, and I wanted to say thank you, Mariah. Mariah dropped a super chat and said, more time to waste than trying to shed negative info on President Trump again. That is true, Mariah. That is exactly what they do, and that's exactly why we do what we do here. The reason that we do this show every single day, the reason I'm always pumping out content and Facebook posts and YouTube videos and everything else is because there's a hunger, a yearning for the truth in this country. People need to know, they want to know what's going on. They want to know what's up, and they want to know really what's happening, not the media narrative that they think is going to turn you away from the president and toward whatever lame stuffed shirt candidate they decide to throw up there in 2028. And so one of the things that we do every single day is we report the truth, and we try to show you who's on your side and who's not. And 99% of the time, the media is not on your side. So Mariah, thank you so much for that. It allows us to continue to do this. One of the other things you should do is you should subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because by subscribing, it means you're going to get the content all the time. If you hit the little ding-a-ling, the little bell there, you're going to get notified every time we go live. And that's even better, because then you're not going to miss anything at all. You're not going to miss the latest on John Fetterman, who, get this, Katie Couric. I don't know if you remember Katie Couric. She used to be somebody. I guess she has a podcast now too. Everybody has a podcast. It's amazing. But Katie Couric was talking to John Fetterman, and she was trying to rag on John Fetterman rag on Charlie Kirk. And she was trying to disrespect the name of Charlie Kirk and question John Fetterman as to whether or not Charlie Kirk deserved the respectful send-off and memorials that he received.
Do you think that
flag should have been flown at half staff? Do you think his body should have been flown on Air Force Two? Do you think he should have posthumously be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom? I think some people felt that that was perhaps over the top in terms of mourning someone like Charlie Kirk. How did you feel about that?
I'd say that was his choice and his prerogative, and that was really entirely up to him.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death, though.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. We've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence. And from what I'm saying, it's like that's unacceptable. And engaging in a debate and views I strongly disagree on, that's part of the American democracy. And for me, it's that would never justify what's happened. And I just chose not to take the opportunity to argue his views after children lost his father in the most violent public way.
Yeah. So Katie Couric, get this. Katie Couric is not angry that somebody perched on a rooftop with a rifle and put a bullet in the neck of an innocent man while he was sharing his viewpoints and very politely and patriotically debating with somebody whose view he disagreed with. She didn't care about that. She didn't care that this guy was murdered in front of thousands of people live and millions more internationally. She didn't care that this young man his wife is now a widow and his children have no father growing up. 2 beautiful young children. She doesn't care about that. You know what she cares about? The flag being at half-mast. She's like, does he really deserve the flag at half-mast? Does he really deserve to posthumously get the Presidential Medal of Freedom? Does he deserve all of that? I mean, that's not for you to say. Did he deserve to get killed? That would really be the better question. I think I know Katie Couric's answer, and that's why I'm probably not gonna ask it. And then one last thing, I should have played this earlier when we were talking about stocks, but what's her name? Anna Paulina Luna is helping me out with my campaign. Anna Paulina Luna is coming this close to introducing a bill to be voted on that is one of my main campaign promises to root out corruption in Congress, and that is a bill to end congressional stock trading.
Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Anna, great to see you again. So the first one is, let me get this right. You're going to end Nancy Pelosi's distinguished career of insider trading. Okay, it's high time. You're leading the charge on this.
I am, and it's interesting. People say, well, people, as in members of Congress, will say there's no insider trading taking place in Congress. BS. Most members are making 600% returns after they're aware of the market shifts, after they are aware of information coming to the floor, how it's going to pass. And so we're actually going for an outright ban on stock trading. And my opinion to my colleagues and my statement that I've made very publicly and clearly is if you want to trade stocks, go to Wall Street, but don't do it in Congress. So we're facing bipartisan support from the United States of America. The American people are with us overwhelmingly, but it's within the institution that they're against us. So I actually received word earlier today from a journalist of all people that said that they had received a tip that they're going to try to slow walk this. So I've actually gone forward and filed a discharge petition that I'm ready to call up at any time if they decide to play games.
Now, she's the queen of the discharge petition, by the way. That's how she got Mike Johnson to capitulate and allow proxy voting, or a kind of bass-ackwards way of proxy voting for women who just gave birth and didn't want to fly with their babies and all that other stuff. But she's got a discharge petition that she's putting forward because she thinks that this is going to be slow-walked by the powers that be, which probably it will be because, again, that's the corruption in Washington, D.C. You have people like Congressman John Rutherford in Florida's 5th District who make a lot of money stock trading with their insider tips. And they don't want Anna Paulina Luna or anyone else like me going into Congress and telling them they can't do it anymore, even though if you did it or if I did it, it would be called insider trading and we'd be going to jail faster than Gordon Gekko. Gordon Gekko does what John Rutherford does, and he goes to jail. John Rutherford gets like 84 days off a year, actually more this year because they just gavelled back in after a 54-day hiatus when Mike Johnson gavelled them out after they voted to reopen the government. And they were waiting for the Senate to do the same. So do not reward your Congress people. They're not there to trade stocks. Anna Paulina Luna is 100% right. If you want to make money in the stock market, go to Washington, D.C. If you want to make money in the stock market, go to Wall Street. If you want to serve the American people, go to Washington, D.C. You know what I would like to see? You know what I would love to see? I would love to see a congressperson who gets insider information about something that's going to happen, let their constituents know so that their constituents, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be great if Nancy Pelosi or John Rutherford or one of these other representatives who've made millions and millions of dollars off the information that they had, wouldn't it be great if they sent out an email blast to all the people that voted for them or all the people in their district saying, hey guys, guess what? Now would be a good time to buy Raytheon stock because Russia's about to invade Ukraine. But that's not what happens. John Rutherford bought stock for himself. He didn't tell anybody in the 5th district, or at least he didn't tell me. He may have told a couple of his insider friends. He may have told a couple of his buddies, but he didn't tell the rest of us. I'd be fine with that. If you want to share the information with the public so we can all make decisions about what companies to invest in, fine. But you shouldn't be sharing any information. You shouldn't be, and you definitely should not be profiting off of it. John Rutherford and Nancy Pelosi and the rest of you scoundrels who are doing it. Best of luck to Anna Paulina with Luna with that particular discharge petition. Look, there's a lot more going on. There's a brewing battle between Thomas Massie and Dan Bongino, which we didn't get a chance to, we didn't get a chance to get to that either, but there's a lot of infighting in the Republican Party, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm hoping with the government opened back up, and I'm hoping with the Epstein file discharge petition coming up next week, I'm hoping we can all get back to just, like hanging out and having fun with each other. Which, speaking of hanging out and having fun with each other, get your ticket for the Ho Ho Hold'em charity poker tournament Thursday, December the 4th. At Best Bet Monument Road in Jacksonville, Florida. If you live in the Jacksonville area, and that's, northern Florida, central Florida, anywhere in Florida, you can just drive up and be a part of one of the greatest holiday celebrations ever. The Ho Ho Hold'em charity poker tournament. Grand prize is $1,000 cash. We have other cash prizes. We have other fantastic prizes and gifts for participants. It's a party. There's food. There's drinks. People come dressed up as their favorite Christmas, people. And of course, like I said, it all helps Kay's Kids, our charity, with our 12 Days of Christmas promotion, which is coming up. Man, it's coming up real soon. It's coming up. The Christmas is going to be here before you know it. It's already November 13th. Don't wait. Don't sleep on these tickets. Go to www.kayskids.com. www.kayskids.com. Make sure that you get your ticket. Make sure you secure your ticket. Make sure that you're ready to go December the 4th. We want to make sure that you're there. We want to make sure that we can party with you and hang out with you and enjoy the holiday season with you while playing some poker, eating some food, having some Christmas cheer, and of course, helping some kids who've been suffering all year. Go to www.kayskids.com. In the meantime, thanks so much for subscribing to this show. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to listen every single day, because every single day we bring the heat. We bring the fire. As my good friend Herman Cain used to say, we bring you all the info you need to know, the entertainment to keep you going. We bring you the inspiration so that you can wake up every single day and be ready and be willing and be able and be excited to fight, fight, fight. Just like the cologne says, fight, fight, fight. So we can save the Republic. Yeah, we have a Patriot Club meeting here in just minutes. If you'd like to join us for the Patriot Club, go to patriots.com. It's an after party. It's a little extended version of the show. We'll talk a little bit more about other stuff that's going on. Go to patriots.com right now. The after